U.S. intelligence agency, mind control.
All right, school shooting time.
They have a suspect in custody.
Right, let's do 'em.
Who that suspect is, we don't know. Why that suspect did what they did at the school today, we don't know. We know the first shots came in just, the first reports of shots came in just about 2 hours ago now. And you still have what looks to be hundreds of kids out there on the school grounds able to go home at this.
Yeah, this is a school of about 1,900 students, and immediately as this incident happened, and just after we saw those students being sent to the football field, some were gathered in prayer circles, waiting to find out more information, as were we. And now those students at the high school have been released. They are okay to leave and go home to their parents, but all the other schools in this district are still on soft lockdown, and authorities are advising everyone to stay away from these schools.
I'm sorry, did I miss that? Did they get the suspect or no?
Kind of hear what unfolded here. I also want to just point out again the large police presence. You're talking hundreds.
They did? Okay,
of responders coming out to this incident, and that coupled along with parents and concerned loved ones has really just created this 2-mile essentially kind of like blockade of folks trying to get information and connect with those students. Lindsay.
And Brittany, you're giving us a look that looks like right in front of the school there. I see some law enforcement behind you. Can you tell us about the law enforcement presence, who's been coming in and out, or what you've seen from that perspective?
As far as jurisdiction, I mean, you've got everybody in play. Even when you're kind of just coming out of the city, you are seeing, multiple law enforcement agencies with.
Going to take a wild guess from the demographics that I'm looking at here, but I'm going to guess that this is like a wealthy suburb that's kind of close to Atlanta, but not really. Or is this farther out? Definitely the suburbs. Well, yeah, you can tell by the school. Oh, yeah, it's further out. You think they're going to 84% white in Georgia, you're telling me. It's, I mean, I'm sure they're going to politicize this, but absent any other information, you'd think it'd just be another school shooting.
With their lights on still at this point, hours later, trying to get out here and lend that helping hand. Everyone from the FBI, of course, sheriff's office, local PD from multiple jurisdictions. And right now, there's really just a little bit of confusion from parents just trying to figure out where to go. And again, trying to make that connection. Some folks are, of course, using technology to stay in touch with students, but really.
Benjamin, you're not wrong.
This is 24-hour news slop.
Agencies from all over.
Eyewitness reporting is kind of starting to corroborate itself.
They really got everything.
Of perhaps, but unconfirmed. But
do we know who did it? Some dipshit, I figure. Right. Didn't school just start? What kind of...
God, you suck.
Good afternoon. I am Chris Hosey, Director of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. And we wanted to come back this afternoon and present you with a little more of a timeline of the events that have taken place
right now,
today and what we know.
Where his mesh vest is very gay. Right now, we're at number 5 in politics. Really? Yeah. That's pretty good. Who's above us? Well, numbers wise. Patriot News Outlet. Okay. Then Justin Freakin. None of them look like actual news or politics type stuff. Yeah, it's just like general shit. Mm-hmm. That's generally what they are, I find. There's nobody doing this kind of thing. Well, that other guy who's rated us a few times, he's actually just below us. He's number 6. Okay. Like, he does actual news stuff. Yeah, like it seems like he does, yeah. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, the one below him seems to be actual news as well. Bro, check this out. You ready for this? You ready for this? You're gonna love this, right? So on here on my monitor, the thumbnail for this one right here. Hey, who's that in this thumbnail? Where? What? Right here. Is that Jack right there? So other people on Twitch are watching our stream. That's hysterical. That's really funny.
Up to this point with the investigation. At approximately 10:20 a.m. this morning, the Bexar County Sheriff's Office received alerts about reports of an active shooter and radio traffic from school resource officers concerning the same concern, or having the same concern. Within minutes, law enforcement was on scene, as well as 2 school resource officers assigned here to the school.
Hey, there's somebody watching the majority
report.
Encountered
the subject within just minutes of this report going out. Once they encountered the subject immediately surrendered to these officers, and he was taken.
Like right down the bottom. There's somebody's screenshot is watching the majority report.
to custody. Additionally, what I want you to know as of now, there are 4 individuals who are deceased from this incident, 9 that have been taken to local hospitals with various injuries. Of those that are deceased, 2 were students and 2 were teachers here at the school.
Where did you see them watching us on Twitch? Where was that?
Oh, I just clicked politics to see who else is streaming right now.
Interesting.
Because the thing is that it's because it's like we're geared to the Australian time slot. It's not a very popular time slot, so it's easy to kind of climb up.
Yeah.
Is to gather all the facts, to make sure that we're accurate with it, because this is a murder investigation. As the sheriff mentioned earlier this morning, the shooter is in custody. His name is Colt, that's C-O-L-T, Gray. He is a 14-year-old student here at the school, G-R-A-Y. He is a 14-year-old student here at the high school. Again, he has been taken into custody. He will be charged with murder, and he will be tried as an adult and handled as an adult. We're coordinating these charges and obviously this investigation with District Attorney Brad Smith, who is the District Attorney for the Piedmont Judicial Circuit here. Since earlier this morning, we talked with you since the incident occurred. Numerous interviews have been taking place.
We're not going to know the motive
with students, faculty, as well as any other witnesses that we could identify. Law enforcement had a very, very swift response to this incident once the incident was determined that there was a concern here. Those resources were
a concern here. That's how they describe kids dying. We had a swift response to the concern.
It's a concern. It's just a concern. Don't worry about it.
State law enforcement agencies and the federal law enforcement agencies.
No way.
To include.
Is that you?
Yeah, that was me.
Not to be left out. Multiple EMS personnel, multiple fire personnel, and agencies. Those agencies responded here as well today, and I am extremely grateful, as I know the sheriff is, for that quick response.
Sheriff,
partnerships working here together with what all is going on. Currently, from the investigative perspective, we have crime scene agents and other special agents from the GBI, from close to a dozen of our different work units from across the state that have responded here today to work on this investigation. Again, collecting evidence, conducted over to Bexar County Sheriff Judge Smith. Thank you.
Could you spell your name, please?
H-O-S-E-Y.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Sheriff Judge Smith of the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. I never imagined that I would be speaking to the media in my career over something that happened today, the pure evil that happened today. I cannot thank the people behind me for the support they give me today.
I don't know how you can claim this is evil when it's a 14-year-old child.
You don't know. Maybe in his closet he had a bunch of 09A stuff.
It's an ISIS radical.
No. But seriously, if he's connected to 09A, is it evil then?
No. I stand by children don't understand what they're doing, and I need further information about this before I make a judgment.
Okay, does it matter how low his balls have dropped? When
No.
does it stop being evil? How low do the testicles have to be on the child? You're entertaining the question.
No, I'm not entertaining that question. I'm like, I think high school. Like, sex is only for children. Last 3 years, like 16, I think is a good place that you can be like, a 16-year-old knows kind of what's going on. I just don't think a 14-year-old fully grasps everything to be able to justify calling a 14-year-old's actions here evil. I just want to know more about why.
What about those 2 British kids that they projected and now are out of jail?
Are these the Slender Man ones?
No. Those kids are different. They're technically still in custody, but they're like outpatient because they actually got insanity.
Yes.
These are two British kids. They were like 6-year-olds, and they lured like a toddler away from their parents, took him to the train tracks, and like mutilated him and tortured the kid. And like you're like it's like illegal in Britain to like say who their identities are or like dox them.
Yes, and the identities always come out, and they have to rebrand their identities. Those two. Yes, I do know about that. No, I don't think that was an evil act. I think the act itself could be called evil. I don't think you could say that the kids did it with evil intent. That's my point.
Okay.
I don't think the children have the capacity to contemplate evil like that.
So he was sent. They got out. One of them got out in 2001. He was then sent back in prison for breaching the terms of his license. Was released on parole again in 2013, and in November 2017 was sent to prison again for possessing child sexual abuse images on his computer. He remained in prison in 2013 after his appeals for parole were rejected.
So one of them was also a pedophile. Was that?
I mean, he is a pedophile now. I don't know if you can say that for when he was a child and did this 31 years ago. This happened.
It's a chicken and the egg situation. Did they do it because they were evil, or were they evil and that's why they did it? But I still think that children physically cannot contemplate the concept of evil, which is why religion works so well, because you can implant these ideas of what evil is into their brains and just be like, this is what it is, and then they have this concept, and it's, I don't know. I don't think that children have the capacity. I think this is like, I agree here that they shouldn't be on social media. Like 14 is too young. Again, 16 is probably even. Look, I don't know. It's up to the parents, but world's fucked up. I don't know. Wait, what doesn't matter? I'm curious. What doesn't matter? I'm actually interested about this discussion because, like, again, I want more information about.
Notice how I'm not giving my opinion. I'm just coaxing it out of Jack so he can get in trouble.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I'm just talking.
That case where they killed that little baby is super fucked up.
No, that is fucked up. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not.
I wonder. You know, what's that fucking the folly of dust?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I wonder if that had to do with those kids.
Yeah, maybe. Because fuck, I know what that is. It's like it's a form of mass hysteria, but it only affects 2 people, right? Because it could be that, and this is why I'm saying this is why I'm saying that there's other things that could explain it. My lack of knowledge is not going to make me automatically assume that these kids are evil because I don't know what went on. Like, I'm unfamiliar with these cases.
When he was 23, the probation officer met another girlfriend of his who was 17. After a number of young girlfriends, it was presumed that he had delayed adolescence. That's what we call it when we're 23 dating high schoolers.
Delayed adolescence.
I just have delayed adolescence. Same guy who later had child sexual abuse material. I bet it was of his girlfriends who were underage.
Maybe. Yes, I generally agree. Yes, but again, it comes down to, was it the kids being evil, therefore doing the act, and therefore they are not fixable, quote unquote, right? That they can't be reformed. I feel like if that happens as a child, that you could be reformed. No, I don't know. I'm just talking. I'm just talking.
Cares about you. Oh, fucking do it again. Okay.
Like I genuinely agree. I agree that you're just broken at that point. Like but how much autonomy should children have, right? And this comes down to this discussion again. Like when the people get to vote, they're bringing this up again in Australia, right? They want to lower the voting age. It's all the same thing. It's
I think we should do Taliban policies, but instead of women, it's children.
When children don't speak in public.
Yes, and they must be covered.
I don't know. It's just a very interesting discussion because I don't. If they and the voting thing is a whole nother can of worms because it's taxation without representation. But this is like a mental age thing. It could depend on the person as well. I don't know. See, it's very complicated. I'm not an expert.
Maybe if they played nice games like Minecraft instead of Doom.
This office and give this staff.
Clinton told me.
This hits home for me. I was born and raised here. I went to school in this.
Well, no, that's exactly right. And this is why I say for this kid specifically, this 14-year-old, I want to know more. Because a 14-year-old doesn't just go shoot up a school. Right? I want to know more. What were the motivations? Were there online factors? Was it mimetic? Is it an anger thing? Was it bullying? What the fuck is it? Oh, yes. Yeah. Right. And it's the same with the girls who killed just stabbed, maybe.
Yeah.
The Slender Man thing.
Yeah,
also,
she was stabbed like dozens of times.
Yeah. Insane. But like that kind of thing is what I'm talking about. It's a very interesting discussion I'm not qualified to have.
School system. My kids go to the school system. I'm proud of this school system.
We will continue to be your single source of truth. Dismiss anything else.
My heart hurts for our community, but I want to make it very clear that hate will not prevail in this county. I want that to be very clear and known. Love will prevail over what happened today. I assure you of that. It is very early as to what happened. Governor Kemp reached out to me and has provided me every single resource that he has to make sure justice prevails.
50 cal sniper rifles?
I don't know why it happened. I may not ever know. We may not ever know. But I ask that you and our community lift up our schools, lift up our public safety.
Shit's heavy, bro.
And that, again,
yeah, they go to the parents.
We do not let this hateful event.
And it's like, we just couldn't get him to stop sig heiling. Because he's saying hate. He's saying hate. It sounds like it was racially motivated then.
Maybe.
There is interviews with his classmates too already, so.
Yeah, I've got those in the list.
I want to thank.
As all good news outlets,
I want to
listening
thank you.
To the cops
thank you for
first,
being my friend.
Yeah, we're listening to the cops first because obviously they are the most reliable and the source that we should listen to for all the information, and everything else we listen to is irrelevant.
I love police.
And this is don't forget.
Go police.
Portuguesa did everything wrong, and the Georgia State Patrol did nothing wrong. And it definitely wasn't an execution. The police are definitely right. This is the case in every scenario. The police's recollection is definitely correct in every single scenario. So we should definitely listen to the police every time they get out first to give their side of the story first.
Well, I mean,
it's definitely not an information warfare tactic to make sure you're...
For shootings, the police are going to be the first.
I know. But there's like, obviously the journalists are probably going to find out the motive or figure out the motive before officially getting the motive from the police.
I can't wait till we get Jack here, and then we can do Rhett and Link style videos where we make you eat shitty American cereal that's full of sugar.
The surrounding agencies and counties and cities and state and federal authorities have come and provided us
I'm the sheriff. I shine the flashlight.
Because they prevented a lot of more tragic events from happening. Continue to lift up these families. Continue to lift up our students and our kids. And know that love.
Welcome to the News Hour. The Department of Justice is warning that America's elections are once again under foreign assault. More on that shortly.
We start tonight's program in Georgia, where authorities say a gunman opened fire at a high school, killing 4 people, 2 students and 2 teachers.
Not really.
At least 9 others were injured. Police say they have arrested a student who is the suspect, and investigators say they don't yet know a motive. This morning, about an hour outside of Atlanta, all too familiar scenes of chaos. Ambulances and police cars racing toward Appalachia High School in Barrow County, Georgia, after reports of an active shooter. Dozens of emergency vehicles and a medevac chopper descended onto school grounds as students sought safety on the football field. All the while, parents worried sick.
Awful choice. Open fields? Boy.
I'm shocked because, I mean, this is Barrow County and stuff like this never happens here. Going to school, during school, after school, whatever you do, just pray because you never know, like, when stuff like this is going to happen.
Nearly 2,000 students attend Appalachia. The new school year kicked off about a month ago.
Appalachia.
Was it a 14-year-old student from that school?
I believe so. Yes, because students there's interviews with
their
kids.
Classmates? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, in early August. This afternoon, county officials
Also,
identified the
judging by
shooter
the name,
as Colt
Colt.
Gray.
Racist parents.
Yeah.
That's like
a 14-year-old
your
student
kid
at the
hunter.
School. They'll be charged with murder as an adult.
Yeah. Our school resource officer engaged him.
See that fucking cop car?
Did you hear what they just said? The what happened? I know, I saw the car. It's very nice. GSP.
He'll be
Georgia
charged
State
with
Pierre.
murder as an adult.
Our school resource officer
Georgia
engaged.
State Patrol.
Right there. Did you hear what he said?
Quickly realized if he didn't give up.
No. Gotta go back. You missed
him.
You missed it.
The shooter
charged with murder as an adult.
Our school resource officer engaged him, and the shooter quickly realized that if he did not give up, that it would end with an OIS, or an officer-involved shooting.
Judd Smith is the Barrow County Sheriff.
So
This hits home for me.
They didn't say he said the resource officer engaged him. That doesn't necessarily the resource officer was opening fire on the kid.
No, not necessarily.
They were able to stop the shooting without even firing a shot just by confronting him.
That's what it sounds like.
So compare that to Uvalde, where the resource officer ran away.
Yeah. Coward.
I was born and raised here. I went to school in this school system.
Hot take. Hot take.
My kids go to this school system.
This resource officer should be honored and be given a government grant.
I agree.
Like a bonus.
I agree. You should encourage this kind of policing. Like this, if you're a resource officer, this should be encouraged as opposed to Uvalde. Shame and fucking throw tomatoes at that cunt. Every time he comes out in public, tomatoes. Rotten tomatoes right in his face.
You know why they throw tomatoes?
No, I have no idea.
Okay, so what's interesting is that they were imported, right? So like other cultures were eating with them for a while, but they're nightshades. So they believed that they were poisonous. They were trying to kill the actors. They were so bad.
That's hilarious.
Like so that because like or not they're related to nightshade. I don't know if they're called nightshades. I forgot what it was, but yeah, that's what I was told in Shakespeare class though.
Yeah,
so maybe my teacher lied to me.
I'm proud of this school system, but I want to make it very clear that hate will not prevail in this county.
In Washington, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said President Biden had been briefed on the situation and called for action from Congress.
Students and teachers deserve to know that their schools are safe. They should focus on learning, not lockdowns.
And the shooting reverberated on the campaign trail. Vice President Kamala Harris began an afternoon event in Portsmouth, New Hampshire on a solemn note.
This is just a senseless tragedy on top of so many senseless tragedies. And it's just outrageous.
Okay, so the leaves of the plant are actually toxic. So it wasn't necessarily unfounded.
Interesting. So it's people who died from them and then like, oh, they're poisonous.
So Texas A&M, it says the mistaken idea that tomatoes were poisonous probably arose because the plant belongs to the nightshade family, which some species are truly poisonous.
Interesting.
Our country in the United States of America, that parents have to send their children to school worried about whether or not their child will come home alive.
Donald Trump, writing on his social media platform, said in part, "Our hearts are with the victims and loved ones of those affected by the tragic event in Winder, Georgia." Another school shooting, another community tonight in mourning.
And now to a story from our student reporters. Last year, Congress passed a measure to find and protect historic Black cemeteries nationwide, but money to actually do the work hasn't been allocated. Some aren't waiting for lawmakers to act. Earlier this summer, dozens of people came together to help preserve a pair of cemeteries in Washington, D.C. From the NewsHour's Student Reporting Lab's journalism training program, Claire Beck reports.
This is where people are laid to rest, and it's sacred space. Death reflects life, and the treatment of Black people in life is reflective of treatment of Black people.
You know who the largest producer of tomatoes is?
The Mount Zion in
Italy? I don't
know. Yeah, right. It really doesn't have farmland. Okay. I'll tell you this. The United States is number 4, and they produce 10 million tons. Okay. Number 3 is Turkey. They produce 13 million. Number 2 is India. They produce 20.7 million. Okay. So who do you think is larger than that? And how much of millions of tomatoes do you think they produce if the next 3 are 20, 13, and 10?
It's going to like exponentially go up. It'll be like 50, 100.
What country? Mexico only produces 4 million.
I've no idea. I don't know where tomatoes grow.
It's China.
Yeah.
They produce 68 million tons per year. So it's like more than all others combined.
That's a lot. And they probably don't export it at all.
Well, I bet you they do.
I bet you they don't.
Does China eats tomatoes?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Female Union Band Society cemeteries have endured challenges, such as erosion and a lack of funding. At one point, developers almost built on this land.
And we're going to do 30-minute shifts.
But on days like Juneteenth, volunteers like high school student Brooke Talbot come to take care of the burial grounds.
A lot of times, these stones are either unmarked or their family doesn't know about it, so nobody's coming out to, help to, refurbish the graves.
One of those graves honors the life of a 7-year-old girl named Nanny. She is one of an estimated 8,000 to 10,000 people buried here. Some are known, many are not. It took years of research to figure out who she was.
She has been pretty popular at the cemetery since I started in 2019 because people leave toys and cards and food at her gravesite.
Lisa Fager is in charge of the foundation that oversees the burial grounds. She was the first to discover the remnants of a fire set on Nanny's grave last year.
Sad that somebody would vandalize the grave, but ironically, it's something so tragic became so beautiful with people coming together.
I think it's important that this place highlights the plight of African Americans in this country, but also the triumph that they have. That they, we came to this country in bondage, but we've risen so much.
Juliet Varga, who lives near the cemetery, started volunteering here in high school. She quickly realized there was more than just history, but also a community.
I think something that really drew me to the cemetery was the effort that was made to bring the people buried there to life.
The African American Burial Grounds Preservation Act was passed in 2023 with the intent of funding research into finding and preserving Black cemeteries nationwide.
A lot of cemeteries don't look like cemeteries anymore. They're under parking garages or buildings, particularly historic Black cemeteries.
This vault within the cemeteries was used as a stop on the Underground Railroad. Some people buried here were enslaved at nearby plantations, including Mount Vernon, the home of George and Martha Washington. To walk visitors through the history here, Varga created an online self-tour accessible by a QR code displayed around the cemetery.
Girl.
Quickly, there were 1,000 hits, and it was really cool to see that people were using it and hopefully learning from it.
The facts are there in their lives and in their deaths, and tell us the stories and the history that we need to remember so that we don't repeat it. And that's what Black cemeteries do. They complete the story.
For the PBS NewsHour, student reporting.
That's fucking cool. What a cool story. PBS, once again. Fantastic stories.
By the way, who is the person?
We are following horrific break.
Who is the person I'm waiting for that Google Doc of info?
I don't know.
Chaos Kitten. Where they been?
They were here on Monday.
Breaking news out of Winder, Georgia. That's a town about 50 miles northeast of Atlanta, Georgia. Moments ago, we just got an update from law enforcement and other officials about the mass shooting at Appalachian High School earlier today. They say 4 people were killed by the shooter. 2 of the victims were teachers. 2 of the victims were students. 9 others have been hospitalized.
Hot take. When I just heard 2 of the victims were teachers, I was like, oh, that's good. Only 2 kids died.
State officials say the suspect in custody is 14 years old.
I don't know. Is that fucked up to say that I'd rather have the teachers die than students?
No, I don't think so. I think that's a generally, I would say that's a generally universal opinion.
Someone's going to turn this into, he wants teachers to die.
Oh, the boy who attends the
school. If those teachers had guns, they would be alive.
Does that mean we get people to watch us? If so, then yes. Teachers do deserve to die.
I don't understand. It's like the way you engage with people online. I'm surprised we don't have more hate viewers and shit.
Yeah. Although I've been trying not to, and my viewership reach is lower than fucking ever. My reach on Twitter is lower than ever. It's fucking great.
Doesn't matter. A lot of the people who watch us don't even use Twitter now. Like there's some, but
no, I know. But like my reach on Twitter is minimal, and it fucking shits me up the wall. It's really annoying. Like I have more followers than I've ever had, and I have less reach than I've ever had.
Investigators, we are told,
makes
no
sense.
Law enforcement officials say they believe the suspect will be charged with murder and tried as an adult. The local sheriff getting emotional as he spoke to reporters.
My heart hurts for these kids. My heart hurts for our community. But I want to make it very clear that hate will not prevail.
Going on when a hate crime of any sort, he was just saying the act of walking into a school with a gun and shooting and killing people is an act of hatred. Students tell CNN that they were unsure what was going on.
I mean, look, you are not telling us everything here. He was just talking about hate. There is nothing implying that what he was referring to was the act of walking into the school with a gun. It's either he was talking about the act of a mass shooting, not the literal act of walking into a school with a gun. So take your alliteration and go fuck yourself. Or he was talking about the kid himself. Yeah. Whatever the fuck you just dribbled out was not it.
When that shooting began, but they quickly realized.
Or it's what John said, and it implies that there was a hatred, like a racial motivation, or like a motivation of like categorization.
Well, you know me. A lot of times I just get vague details of something, and I can generalize and make a prediction, and then most of the time that prediction ends up being correct. You know,
generally.
And my prediction is just the demeanor of the people, like the cops, the demeanor of the cops involved, describing it like the way that they did about being hate, and the fact his name is Colt.
My first initial reaction was my sister, because she's a freshman, and I was like, okay, she's in this school as well. I needed to make sure that she's okay. And then that's when I texted my mom and my dad. I was like, I love you guys. If anything happens, like, you know, my automatic thought was like apologizing for some reason, because I'm obviously not a perfect daughter, but I was like, I'm sorry guys, like I love you guys so much. And that was kind of like my initial reaction. I started shaking a lot, and that's when I started crying as well. I was trying to text a lot of my friends, but unfortunately everything was down, so all I could really do was text the people that I have like numbers of.
Let's get straight to CNN's Isabel Rosales, who is on the ground for us in Winder, Georgia, where this took place. Isabel, you're with a student there.
It's also sped up.
A single student. You're telling me a single goddamn student.
That's all they talk to?
Is CNN's Speaks with Students. Amazing.
I'm sure there's more.
Hey, Jake. Yes, I am with a student. I'll introduce you to her in just a moment.
Are they doing live? Thank God.
Sheriff Judd Smith, incredibly emotional, gathering his breath, gathering his thoughts, his emotions, saying that he was born and raised here. He went to this school district. His own children go to this school district. And he's told us he never imagined the day where he would have to stand in front of the media, local, state, national media, and talk about the pure evil, he said, that has happened here in his own community. And to know that it was a force to elbow with that shooter. Colt Grace. He's been named by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
Stop saying the
first start
fucking name, you
how are you?
stupid
How are you
cunt.
coping?
I'm okay. I'm pushing through it, talking to friends, making sure, everyone else is okay, checking on people around me.
Can you bring me back? What happened?
I just remember, the moment that it happened, he was at the door, and I knew they were looking for him already, but he was at the door, and they almost let him in until they backed up, and then he turned away, and that's when you hear, the first rounds of fire.
So he was in class with you, in algebra class. He left. Then he came back, was at the door, and then knocking to be let back in. Why? You told me something about the doors.
Yeah, they lock automatically, so you have to be let in to come back into our classroom. So I think he wanted to come to us first.
Come to you first to shoot?
Yes, to shoot us class.
And then he was at the door. Student went to open the door, and then what happened?
She backed away. I think she saw him, or maybe somebody said something, but I'm pretty sure she saw that he had a gun, and so she backed away.
So she was about to let him into the class. You think to shoot the students, saw that he had a gun,
That's pretty
did not
crazy.
let him in. What happened next?
He turns to the classroom to what would have been my right, and he just starts to shoot, and you hear about 10, 15 rounds back to back.
What did you hear? What did you think was going on in those moments?
I'm just gonna leave it.
As soon as they didn't let him in, you kind of I don't know, I already kind of had a feeling it was gonna happen, and it was him. But as soon as they didn't let him in,
It was
and
him.
you hear the gunshots, you kind of no.
That tells you a lot, doesn't it?
I did love that there was a girl who was like, I'm just going to let him in.
You knew that something very bad was happening next door. Did he ever say anything?
No, he never really talked. He was pretty quiet. He wasn't there most times. Either he just didn't come to school, or he just would skip class. But even when he would have talked, it was one-word answers or just short statements.
You told me off camera you weren't surprised that he would be the
bullied
shooter.
him.
Why is that?
Just because when you think of shooters and how they act or things that they do, it's usually the quiet kid, or that's what stereotype for it to be. And he was the one that fit that description in our class.
Did you ever see the gun, or did the student that go to the door
She totally
see the
bullied
gun,
this
describe
kid.
it to you guys?
She probably pretended to be his girlfriend and everything just to do the Chris Chan thing and then call him a cock.
Don't put that on her.
Look, man, I'm just trying to get us views.
No, I haven't talked to
It's
her
your
after this. It was all
fault.
pretty hectic.
It's
but
your
I
fault
did see the gun.
specifically, girl.
Did he have a hobby of guns, hunting? Did he ever talk about any of that?
No, he never really talked.
Can you tell me what it was like inside of the classroom when you hear those gunshots go off? How I heard that you helped to keep the other students calm, right?
Yeah, most of when we heard it, most people just dropped to the floor and kind of crawled in an area, piled on top of each other, lost a shoe when they were trying to get to a corner. The teacher turned off the lights, but we all just kind of piled together. And I pushed desks in front of us. I was just telling people oh, push desks in front of you, block in front of you, get low, things like that.
And are there any metal detectors in the school?
No, not that I know of.
Did you guys drill for active shooters? We know that some school districts do that.
Guess what?
They were
the desks don't actually do anything. They just basically obscure you from the shooter, so he can't get clear shots on you.
Which is really all you need if the desks are up and you're able to hide.
That is what we call soft cover.
Yes.
Have you seen that
silent
video
drill, so we
where
stayed in our seats. The teachers kept
there's two 14-year-old kids, and they broke into a house full of guns and start engaging the police, and the police are screaming and crying, "Please don't make us shoot you! Please don't make us shoot you!"
What the fuck?
Yeah, and then they shoot the girl in the gut, and the boy is like, "You shot my sister!"
Damn.
Yeah. It's all body cams. All on body cams. It's fucking. Well, so I don't remember exactly what was happening, but they had escaped foster care.
Oh.
So I think there was underlying abuse that they were running from.
Yeah. That's A shame.
more for like the system of it instead of like preparing us.
How quickly, from the moment that you heard the gunshots go off to the hard lockdown alert going on the screens, letting everyone else in the school know that something had gone wrong, how long did that take? Do you recall?
Maybe a couple minutes, but it wasn't instant.
At what point did you know that this was over?
When the cops came in the room and asked us to put our hands up, asked us if we had anything, a little bit after that, they let us all out. But when it was kind of quiet, you hear like cops yelling, but it's kind of quiet. There's no more gunshots, things like that.
Yeah. What was that communication like with your parents? I mean, all of us have phones nowadays. I spoke with many students texting what they thought might be their last words to their parents. What was that like for you?
I called my mom. I called her and I was like, oh, they're shooting up the school. She thought it was like, she didn't believe me at first. And I was like, no, they actually are. And I talked to her for a second and she was like, oh, I'm on my way right now. And then I was like, okay, I got to go call other people. I text all my friends in the school, out of school, everywhere. And I'm just texting and calling kind of everybody.
And what was that like leaving the school? I saw videos of officers escorting the students with their hands raised. What was that like?
Bro, the ground news title for this story I'm sending you is fucking savage. Like, really, again, honestly, the police did a really, like, decent job. Like, they really, really tried everything they could before they shot the girl in the stomach. And I think both of them lived, so.
Okay.
Yeah, that
protocol obviously, but I was glad it was over. Like, I was glad we were able to leave. I was looking for my friends that were there. I was comforting the ones that had been through a little bit of a harder time.
Independent.
Then,
Boy
Lila,
12
what would you
accused
say
of
to this?
firing on police with AK-47 in Florida. Bonnie and Clyde rampage makes first court appearance. What the fuck? It's literally a 12-year-old kid. What are you doing? Don't phrase it like that.
Volusia County Sheriff's Office says the children shot at the deputies for more than half an hour Tuesday night before the deputies returned fire. Manuel Bojorquez has more on this story, and we do warn you, the video is disturbing.
Don't worry, I'm watching.
Shooting out the rear window toward my direction. Stand by.
That's Sergeant Donnie Maxwell taking cover behind a tree. He's taking fire from a 12-year-old boy and a 14-year-old girl from inside the house. Police say the two children had fled from a juvenile home northeast of Orlando and broken into this unattended house, finding several large firearms. When police arrived, the children opened fire.
Put the gun down now!
Let's just hold on. Take our time.
10-4, they're shooting.
Man, imagine if you had this kind of restraint for black people.
I think they are black. The kids.
Are they?
Shooting at me.
At one point in the 9-minute edited video, Maxwell, with his gun drawn, mutters to himself, appearing to pray for a peaceful outcome.
Don't make me do this. Don't do this.
More than 30 minutes into the standoff, aerial footage then appears to capture police opening fire. The flashing dots are the bullets coming from the officers.
Okay, they're unloading on those kids. You see that shit?
Yep. Jesus.
Police say bullets coming from the officers assembled behind the tree.
See the casings?
Yeah. Well, also like the bouncing and stuff because they like hit the car.
Yes.
Police say they started shooting, striking the girl and wounding her after she came outside pointing a shotgun at the officers. The 12-year-old boy who had been carrying an AK-47 surrenders, and the officers rushed to administer first aid to the girl.
Whoever's got a med kit, some type of med kit, I need it up here now in the garage.
None of the officers were injured despite having multiple rounds fired at them, but the female suspect was transported to a local hospital where...
What a fucking insane story. That's fucking crazy. When did this happen?
Not that long ago.
Student that you were just elbow to elbow with just this morning in algebra class, and now this.
I'm not sure. I want to know why he did it. I think that would be...
Me too!
I want to know why.
Lila, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, and the best to you and your family and your community. Thank you for talking to us. Jake?
Okay, Isabel, you asked a question at the briefing.
Are going to go live to the press conference we've been expecting out of Appalachia High School.
It had to witness this today. Obviously, we do have a suspect in custody. And we are asking for your patience as the media to please let us get the facts that we need to make sure we get this right.
Fuck you. Tell us now.
Again, I've asked the GBI to help us, the sheriff's office, to help us along with this. I know this is not what you want to hear, but I'm not going to answer questions.
It's funny. I literally can't Google that Florida story. It's just coming up with this case today.
Fucking hell. Gotta love Google, don't you?
You the respect and our community respect to let them know what was going on initially. We're in the process
New
of
York Times, 2 middle school
their parents.
desperados.
Obviously, that's chaotic.
Wow.
But we want to be respectful of them and their privacy as well. I want to thank the state, the federal agencies, the local agencies that showed up today. As you can see, the multiple EMS and fire from other agencies that responded today. Again, I ask that you lift up Barrow County Schools, lift up Appalachia, lift up our agencies. This is going to take multiple days for us to get answers as to what happened and why this happened. But I wanted to give you a statement. It is our hope, in conjunction with these people behind us, that we can give you another statement around 4 o'clock, because I know you have to go back on the air. That is my hope. But I wanted to be fluid with you all, understanding that it's fluid as well with this investigation. I appreciate you being patient with us. Again, it's very active and is ever developing. Every minute it's developing on what we're finding. So we're going to have releases from other schools. Again, we ask that you be patient with us. Please be patient with us. And hopefully I can give you more information.
All right, you are hearing now from Barrow County, Georgia officials. He has just described this as an evil thing that happened.
What the fuck? I just got an email from a medical cannabis company asking me to write an opinion piece for The Age. I don't know if that's legit or not. Interesting.
Wait, who did this? In our Discord server, there's a Twin Towers thing, but it won't let me send it. It says I need nitro. What is going on there? What's that? How come I can't use my own emojis if people are making emojis in my Discord?
Happened there at Appalachia High School this morning, confirming that there are multiple injuries and that they do have a suspect in custody. They've also said that the GBI, FBI, and other people are on the ground. Stay right here. You're watching Daily.
See more questions this time, okay? Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about.
We obviously have been hearing for hours now from community members reacting to the shooting, trying to get in contact with loved ones at the school. Here's a bit of what some of them have had to say.
She was with one of her friends, and he was 2 doors down from where it happened. He said he heard some knocking on the door before it even went on to lockdown. He heard banging on a door, which they thought kind of was a locker, and then he heard somebody say, "Open the effing door, let us in." And then he heard boom, boom, boom. And he said when he went to leave, there was gunpowder, gun shells, and blood everywhere.
I heard gunshots, and then my teacher told us to get in the corner. And then they were clearing this. I heard like screaming and police officers like, "Get down, put your hands on your head." My classmate would open the door, but she turned around and said that he had a gun. And then as soon as she said that, he started firing. I thought I was gonna die.
It was just like a loud boom, as if a locker had slammed. So my teacher thought it was just like some kid acting foolish. So then she took a peek outside, and then we heard repeatedly the banging again, and that's when we could identify it was a gun. And then the hard lockdown was placed, and then we ran to the back of the classroom, turned off the lights. I was shaking, scared, and I didn't have my phone on me, and I couldn't communicate with my mom for half an hour. And I didn't know what was going to happen because you could hear the gunfires right down the phone. So I don't know if it was like the last chance I had to talk with her. But luckily, I'm here.
My daughter called me at work, screaming that there was a shooter at Appalachia and begged me to get there as quick as possible. So
it should be
just
usable on the server. Good to know. Let me test it real quick.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the.
That's what I'm talking about. I can use it on the server. That's what's up.
Wait, what was this? Making headlines.
Discord.
Did a word play? Like,
yeah, because I was talking about how they were calling the kids Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah. Like I will sensationalize a headline, but I'm not gonna call kids Bonnie and Clyde. That's fucking ridiculous.
Speaking of Twitch, did our fucking
what?
Our fucking secret emoji stuff get approved, so I can delete some of them so we can test.
One might have, one didn't. Unless
This is just a senseless
unless,
tragedy.
Unless it got approved and then not approved.
Yeah, because there was like different versions of the same one.
Yeah,
but
because I got one approved, one wasn't.
On top of so many senseless tragedies. And it's just outrageous that every day in our country, in the United States of America, that parents have to send their children to school worried about whether or not their child will come home alive. It's senseless. It is, we've got to stop it. And we have to end this epidemic of gun violence in our country once and for all. You know, it doesn't have to be this way. I'll speak about myself. You know, we had, well, I grew up in California, earthquake drills, we had fire drills, but our kids are sitting in a classroom where they should be fulfilling their God-given potential, and some part of their big, beautiful brain is concerned about a
big, beautiful brain.
You know what I really don't like about people being like, God-given, right? Saying that completely diminishes and negates the efforts and expertise of teachers. So fuck your God and your God-given bullshit. No. It's the teachers that educate kids. Right? It's not God that gives you your rights. It's your existing. You literally existing is why you have rights. Not God, not the state. Like, I don't understand why people continue to use this fucking language. Like, it's so diminishing. Especially
what happens when we click on these on? Do they show? Look, yeah. We do. It does highlight them and show them on screen.
What's that one? It's Beachy.
That one doesn't work, it seems. Well, I guess they're just stills.
Yeah.
shooter busting through the door of the classroom. It does not have to be this way.
We start tonight with an all too familiar scene in American life. This time in Winder, Georgia, about 50 miles from Atlanta, just 4 weeks into the school year there. Gunfire erupted at Appalachia High School. Here's what we know. At least 4 people are dead, 2 students and 2 teachers, and 9 injured. The suspect, a 14-year-old student who is alive and in custody and will be charged as an adult.
I don't know why it happened. I may not ever know. We may not.
They're on the scene so soon after it happened. What are we learning about what unfolded at this school today?
Caitlin, good afternoon. It's been an emotional scene out here. As you saw, we just had a press conference. The sheriff here even getting teary-eyed as he talked about where the investigation stands.
Honestly,
as you mentioned, they said that...
Overall, I'm pretty happy with how this has been reported. And you know what the difference is? Kids. That's what it takes. It takes fucking children for the news to report on this properly. Because they're not allowed to. Because they can't sensationalize it. Because they can't do this shit to kids.
A 14-year-old student here at Appalachia High School came in with a gun this morning and began firing. At this point, they said he is in custody and is cooperating with police. They said he really surrendered just as soon as he saw those police. But back to those people who are now dealing with what they witnessed today. We've been talking to a lot of students and family members, and it's been very harrowing out here as they waited for hours to be reunited with their loved ones. And I believe we have a soundbite from a father and son who were reunited.
I started running. He started shooting like 10 times. He shot at least 10 times. And then I ran to the back of the classroom. I dived behind the desk, and my teacher had got in front of me like he was guarding. But like the gunshots were so close to me, like my ears started ringing.
My son actually called me while it was going on inside the classroom. Like I was inside the store and I heard him hollering and screaming and crying.
And there are just so many stories just like that one, Caitlin, of parents just rushing to the school. I got here just a little bit after those reports started coming into us. And I will say for at least a mile, about 2 miles around the school, there were just cars parked in the middle of the road, parents, loved ones running to the school to check on their children.
Oh, God, Jared, that's just so tragic to hear. And when you hear that little boy, he is a little boy, talking about what he just witnessed at just a normal day at
We don't need your alliteration.
Amy Sassady and her family brought the aromas of Laos and northeastern Thailand to Houston, Texas, a city that surprised her.
I bet everyone thinks of Texas as cowboy and cattle and ranches. That's what I thought, at least.
Sassady, who hails from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, found Houston to be a city of immigrants. Sassady and her brother helped run.
Are you aware of a CIA psychological profile about you, sir? Would you be interested in hearing what the CIA had to say? This secret study portrays as a brilliant but dangerous megalomaniac who is likely to pursue his own aims in disregard of U.S. interests. He's an uncertain ally. Shall I go on, or would you prefer that I stop, sir?